So recently I released a video where I showed using wood pellets in my two wood gasification stoves, the Lexada and the Solo Titan. And I had mentioned during that video my reason for doing so is I was looking for an alternative fuel that I could use at the national parks and the picnic parks around the city here. I also mentioned that I was going to look at some other alternative fuels and ways that I could use some of the small stick stoves and wood stoves that I have in the parks without creating a big fire, without drawing a lot of attention, and of course without using the resources that are around me, which are illegal or at least inappropriate to use. So continuing with that theme, I'm in my backyard today of my home, and I'm going to use the VitalGrill Survival Stove with charcoal to see how that works out. Something I haven't done before, but if it works out, I think this will be quite a good investment and quite a good thing that I could use in the parks. So if this is interest to you, stay with me. So if you don't know about the VitalGrill Survival Stove, I'll give you a quick rundown. I do have another video where I've done more work with this. It is a Canadian-made item. It is a cast aluminum base. It uses a fan to force air through the wood. Now I'll assemble it for you and show you as I go along. But here's basically where the air enters in through to the burn chamber. This plate also provides a cover where you can store a little battery pack that comes with it. Put the burn plate back on. And the chamber itself stores as a folding, almost like a wind wall. It's a little, there we go, comes out quite nicely. Unfolds. And that's basically it right there, except for I haven't added the battery pack. So just give you a look at the inside. It's a fairly good sized burn chamber inside. The pot stands are adjustable. For a very small, you could use like a GSI or a canteen cup quite nicely, and I've done both on this. You can also fold them out if you're going to use a cast iron or a larger fry pan of some type, and I may be doing that today to cook my lunch. So what I'm going to use is just Kingsford charcoal briquettes, and I've discovered that I can place 8 of these inside here just perfectly, and I'll give you a look inside. And what I'm hoping is that I can create a steady, even heat with just 8 briquettes that will allow me to barbecue maybe a steak or a hamburger. I'm not sure if it'll have enough heat to boil water, but we're going to test that out as well. So there's what that looks like with the briquettes inside of the burn chamber. Now, staying with the theme that I'm in a picnic park, rather than use birch bark or any other natural materials to create a little fire on top, I'm going to use a lighter fluid, and I used this in my last video as well. And this is an alcohol gel fuel, and intended for fire starting. So I'm going to pour a little bit of that on to the briquettes. Now, word of caution, the manufacturer of the VitalGrill does not recommend using liquid fuel fire starters for starting fires inside this device, and I suspect that has something to do with the fact that when the fan is turned on, it's going to create almost like a blowtorch effect. So I'm going to be very cautious. Now, the gel is highly viscous, very thick in nature, and I don't think it's going to leak through into the plate below, but do so at your own risk. I think this is something I can do safely, but of course I'm in a safe area just in case things do get out of control. Plug my battery pack in, and the battery pack has a high and low setting, and there is a draft damper that you can pull out and adjust for the amount of draft, so it has almost infinite variations. And I'm going to get the alcohol on and lit before I turn the battery pack on. All right, let's give this a go. I think it's about 1.5 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons. Put that out of the way. Again, staying with the theme that I'm working in a park, I'm going to be using some matches. Strike Anywhere matches. Still get them in Canada. These are small. I hope it has enough burn time to light this alcohol gel. I find it is a little resistant if it's cold out. Now, it's a bright sunny day here. Yep, it caught. I can't see the alcohol burning. I'm going to turn the fan on low. Open the damper up. I expect it's really difficult for you to see what's taking place here right now, but the alcohol is burning. So what I'll do, because this is probably going to take some time for the charcoal briquettes to really catch, is I'm going to turn the video off, but I'll bring it back in a few minutes time and give you a progress report. Okay, quick update. It's been 7 minutes since I lit the briquettes, and you can see the progress. Well, hopefully you can. I had to stand over it to create enough shadow. It's a nice bright sunny day here, but hopefully you can see that the briquettes are starting to white up. I can see inside that they are, especially the ones on the bottom, are a nice bright glow, and I can tell you there's considerable heat coming off of these. Now I would be waiting a little while longer before I attempted to cook anything over this, but it is producing quite a bit of heat. So I'm going to do two tests. One is to see if I can boil water, and the second will be to see if I can fry an egg in a cast iron fry pan. And I'm going to use a larger cast iron fry, well, a medium-sized cast iron fry pan, just to see if it'll generate enough heat to first heat up the fry pan and then cook the egg. I do have an aluminum windscreen that I'll be putting around this. There's a little bit of a breeze here today, and I might as well maximize the stove's performance with that. But so far, these briquettes are heating up nicely, and I'll bring you back in a few minutes when they're a little further developed. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes since I lit the briquettes, and they're all nice and engaged in the glowing right now. There's some good heat being produced by them. I can't get my hand very close to them. You can see I did put an aluminum windscreen up around there just to maximize the efficiency of the stove. So what I'm going to do for my first test is put my GSI kettle on, 2 cups of water. Right, there we go. I'm also going to put the fan on high. At this point, the fan has been on low. The damper is open, but the fan has been on low. So I'm going to turn the fan on high and see how much further along that'll take this and how long it'll take the water to a boil, if in fact it does come to boil. That's my hope. And when it does, I'll bring it back and give you an idea how long it took. All right, it's been 5 minutes since I put the kettle on, and it looks like we have a boil. Absolutely we do. All right, that's impressive. 5 minutes on these briquettes on top of the VitalGrill Survival Stove, and I have 2 cups of water brought to a boil. And it was cold water from my cold water tap, so I didn't put any warm water in it or anything else. So I'm going to use this water for a cup of tea and change it out for a fry pan and see if I can't fry an egg. Let's have a look at the briquettes. There you go. A lot of life left in those briquettes. And we're about 20-25 minutes into the test. Bring it back when I get the fry pan hot. Okay, the fry pan's been on for about 2 or 3 minutes. It feels hot. I did give it a water drop test and the water sizzled right off. So I'm going to throw just a little bit of butter in. I'm only cooking 1 egg for this test. Looks like I'm a little unbalanced. Oops, drop the egg. There we go. Lots of heat here. In fact, I think I'm going to turn the fan down. Yeah, I'm just off the grill ever so slightly. I get back over the heat with my egg. I think that should do it. Okay, as that egg finishes up, I'm going to enjoy that as a quick snack here, and we'll just watch and see how long it takes for these coals before they're pretty much of no use. So I wish I had had a hamburger or steak to do, but it's only 9:30 in the morning here, so a little early to be cooking a heavy meal like that, so I'm going to have breakfast instead. I'll bring you back in a few minutes. All right, 35 minutes into the test since I first lit the briquettes. There is still, yeah, they're starting to break down. But there's still some solid briquettes there, and they're still producing a fair amount of heat. Maybe enough to cook a hamburger on. So a little bit of time left on them now, but yeah, this has been a good test. All right, we'll wrap it up with a few closing comments. Okay, so what are my thoughts on using the VitalGrill Survival Stove with charcoal? Well, the intent of this was to see if it would be an option for use in a provincial park, a national park, or one of the local picnic parks. Something like a hibachi or a small gas barbecue would be. And I think this worked out very well. 35 minutes of good burn time. I was able to boil 2 cups of water. I was able to fry an egg in a cast iron frying pan. I believe I easily would have been able to do at least 1 or 2 hamburgers and a steak or anything else that you would normally do over a small grill. A few reservations. Well, the only reservation is the size of the burn chamber. It's only 5 inches square, and when I put the cast iron fry pan on, it centered the heat in the center portion of that fry pan. So I did find that because the rock or the brick that is sitting on is slightly unbalanced, my egg of course slid over to one side of the fry pan. Then I had just a little bit of a challenge getting the egg directly over the heat, but of course the fry pan had become quite hot and it cooked the egg regardless. So with those reservations in mind, I can recommend using charcoal in the VitalGrill Survival Stove. And again, I just want to point out the manufacturer does not recommend using liquid lighter fluids in the stove. I probably could have gotten away with using a probably get some wind noise now. I probably could have gotten away with using a Vaseline soaked cotton ball and it would have worked just as well, or one of the other fire starters that you can use for this. But so far, yeah, I would say this works really well. I've got a few other tests in mind I'll do for you today, and see if I can't bring those videos to you shortly. So in the meantime, if you've enjoyed this video, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and stay tuned for more. I'm in the city. That doesn't mean you can't get out and explore the woods, so do that. Get out and explore. Take the path less traveled. It'll make all the difference. Bye for now.